Hello and welcome to the Feeling Good podcast. I am your host, Fabrice Nye, and joining me here in the Murrieta studios is Dr. David Burns. Hi, David.
Hi, Fabrice.
Dr. David Burns has been a pioneer in the development of cognitive therapy, and he is the creator of the new team therapy. He is the author of Feeling Good, which has sold over 5 million copies in the United States and has been translated into over 20 languages. He is an emeritus adjunct clinical professor of psychiatry at the Stanford University School of Medicine. Welcome to episode 59 of the Feeling Good podcast. This is an in-between episode. We're releasing this midweek for you to be able to put it aside for now. This is a 2-hour episode that covers Marilyn's tune-up session. So if you don't have 2 hours ahead of you to listen to it, you can skip it. And we will release the next episode as usual on Monday morning. Today we have the tune-up session for Marilyn. So we just finished a series of 3 episodes taking apart a live session that you did with Marilyn, David, and with Matt. So this tune-up session, just so that our listeners are aware of it, is happening 8 weeks after the session that they just finished hearing. So we're revisiting how Marilyn is doing 8 weeks later. Now, one thing that I wanted to ask you, David, is so this is a tune-up session. How is that different from the first session that you did last time?
It probably won't be real different because when you do a tune-up for someone, you're typically working with exactly the same thoughts that have returned.
Okay.
And so you go through the same process. You can sometimes go through the same process very, very quickly, but because you know what the thoughts are and you know how to combat the thoughts. But that's not necessarily the case, and sometimes you want to give the person time to vent and to express feelings. And
so we need to let our listeners know that we decided to leave the session uncut, so there's over an hour and a half of session happening here. So it's going to be a longer episode than usual, much longer. Now, what I wanted to ask you also,
in fact,
David,
it's 12 hours. No, I'm just joking. It's an hour 40, something like that.
So last time when you closed the session, you did the relapse prevention. And my understanding is that the relapse prevention is to avoid having to get back to this. But here we are. We're meeting some of the same issues that we did 8 weeks ago. So can you explain what happened? Why is the tune-up necessary?
What would be your thoughts about that?
I have a thought on that.
Yeah.
I think it's just the nature of depression itself that when it hits us, we go right back into feeling dreadfully hopeless. And in that moment, it's hypnotizing. We believe that none of the methods could help us, and our motivation drifts away. And even if we have pre-committed to working on the methods, that there can be all these different reasons, including hopelessness, why we wouldn't do that. And then we remain in that negative mood state until we've addressed it.
I think that's really good. Also, the techniques that helped a person the first time will always help the person.
Well, that's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, and the negative thoughts that come back will always be very similar to the original negative thoughts. If a person picks up the tools, again, and uses them, they may not need to come in for a tune-up. I had very few patients in my clinical practice who ever came back for tune-ups following the initial treatment. When people did come back for tune-ups, it was generally just a session, as this will be, and then they're on their way again. But if a person gets to feeling really hopeless, they might think, oh, that first recovery wasn't real, the tools can't work, and kind of give in to the hopelessness. So then they might need to come in and get a boost from the therapist. I think you have to take people where they are, and when someone needs support, there's no shame in coming in for not only some warmth and compassion, but also get the person back on track. And I think what Matt said is so true. Depression is kind of a state of hypnosis. Anxiety disorders are also a state of hypnosis. And once you get into that hypnotic state, you begin to believe things that are really not true, but they seem as true as the fact that there's skin on your hands. And so sometimes two minds are better than one, and a little bit of teamwork can save a person an enormous amount of grief and despair and being lost.
Okay. In this session today, at some point you're doing the paradoxical agenda setting, which of course is part of every session. And there's something that I found interesting in there, when Marilyn talks about the beautiful things that her supposedly negative emotions and feelings are saying about her. And at one point, one thing that came up was the desire for pleasure. And you said, is that a good thing? How is the desire for pleasure a good thing?
Well, I took that from the Dalai Lama.
Is that right?
He said the purpose of life is happiness. And so I think that there's nothing wrong with wanting pleasure, wanting relief. I think what the listeners can be listening for in the tune-up with Marilyn is that so many of us, our pain comes from should statements. I shouldn't be depressed. I shouldn't be angry. I shouldn't be a burden, and sometimes the more moral a person is, the higher standards a person has. Maybe sometimes that makes us even more prone to depression and to kind of beating up on ourselves and falling short. And what that has to do with your question, I have no idea, because I can't even remember what your question was, but that kind of came to me that's a big theme here with Marilyn. You see, Marilyn has two problems. One problem is the cancer, facing death, but most of the suffering, in fact, almost all of the emotional suffering comes from the way we're talking to ourselves, the way we cruelly beat up on ourselves and don't even realize that we're doing that. And before we went into the positive reframing and the externalization of voices portions of this session, you, Matt, were doing a beautiful job talking to Marilyn about what she will most miss in life. And there were a lot of tears came. And that was a very beautiful part of the session. And to my way of thinking, those weren't the tears of depression, but those were really spiritual tears of,
gratitude and thanks and awareness of the value of life.
Yeah. But those tears we welcome, but the depression, the shame, the rage, the anxiety, the hopelessness, those are the things we want to try to smash or eliminate or reduce, whatever way you want to think about it.
So I wonder, before we listen to the session, if Marilyn has some comments that she'd like to add about what we just did.
I found the first session extremely helpful, and I just saw myself slipping slowly back into feeling really hopeless and depressed, especially as I was experiencing more and more physical pain, which I hadn't.
That's kind of what
before.
triggered this.
It was the big trigger, because it was real reminder that I have cancer.
And that was actually the answer to your question, why this relapse happened.
Yeah.
I had kind of forgotten it.
Yeah,
yes,
that's true. Because I have the pain, all the time now, and it wakes me up at night. It's like, oh yeah, I have cancer. And so I think today's session again is reminding me of the positive things about myself that I frequently forget because I get stuck in this morass or quicksand. And I, instead of being in the quicksand, I now feel, like I'm running on the beach. It's a whole different, I feel lighter, I feel happier, I don't feel depressed. And I know, maybe next week or the next week after that, I'm going to feel depressed again. But I know I can look at my notes, I can look at the externalization of voices, I can listen to the podcast, I can call David or Matt. And I have to remind myself I have options and that it is really okay to ask for help, because I think it's a way of giving to myself, and I believe it's a way of giving to Matt, David, and you, Fabrice, as well as to the people that are going to be listening to this.
And then another point, I want to keep drawing this up, but more things are occurring to me now. I was feeling kind of spaced out, like a deer caught in the headlights a few minutes ago, but you see, this isn't just about coping with cancer. It seems like the themes we were working on today are themes that have been with you ever since you've been a little girl, and the way you experience relationships and the aloneness that you've really struggled with all of your life. And so another aspect of it is that okay, let's say you're at the final phase of your life or something like that, that people are going to all give up and, what's my life amounted to, and this is awful and stuff like that. But you're really growing vibrantly, even today. It may be one of the most pregnant times of your life, really. I'm just speculating, but it seems like I saw tremendous growth and change, and I'm not just talking about eliminating depression, but that whole interpersonal dynamic of feeling ever since you were a little girl, and I think you had a lot of abuse and really hard times, and just felt like you weren't good enough, and people weren't to be trusted too much.
That's true. That's true.
Just let me ask you one more time. Is there anything you want to say to the people who are listening? Is there any message that Marilyn wants to deliver? You're experiencing the dark night of the soul, and you say that's a good thing. And I don't know if you have anything to say. You have a lot of ears listening. Preach your sermon or something like that.
Well, for me, the experience of the dark night of the soul is really reminding me of the preciousness of life and being grateful for life and for the gifts that I have and the gifts that I am going to continue to have and to discover. And I'm finding it very, very hopeful and life-giving and amazing. It really is amazing.
Well, thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, David and Matt. So let's now listen to the actual session.
Well, we want to thank you, Marilyn, for coming back and giving us this opportunity to work with you again and to support you again and to talk with you again. And what the theme of today's podcast could be tune-ups. How do you do a tune-up with someone who you've worked with, you've seen a dramatic or complete elimination of symptoms, you've done your relapse prevention training, but have always told all of my patients, I'm your therapist for the rest of your life. I've never discharged anyone, and if I don't hear from you, no news is good news. But if you ever fall into that black hole again and you need some help, come on in and we'll do a tune-up. And the good news for me, and also somewhat the bad news, is that the tune-ups are usually pretty easy and pretty fast. One session or 2 sessions at most, and the person's on their way again. And then for me, the kind of bad news for that, not so much here because we're in the same orbit, have a lot of opportunities to interact, but with my patients, it was kind of sad because then, I probably won't see them again. But I'd rather have it set up that way than be working with someone for prolonged periods of time who isn't making any kind of breakthrough. I notice, and we're really honored again to have you, Matt, to work with again. And so I asked Marilyn to fill out the brief mood survey, and she also kindly brought in a daily mood log so we can just see how you're feeling now. And today, by the way, it's August what? What is it?
August 4th.
August 4th, just following yesterday's intensive, actually. And your depression score is 19 out of 20, which is out of the range of severe and into the range of extreme. There's no suicidal urges or thoughts. The anxiety score is 20 out of 20, which is, again, extreme. And the anger is 19 out of 20, which is extreme. And then the positive feelings on a 0 to 40 scale is 5, indicating practically no positive feelings at all. The only slightly elevated one, the moderately, is I feel close to people, and there's just somewhat I feel worthwhile, or somewhat I feel good about myself, or somewhat I feel connected to others, and then a lot of them were not at all. I don't feel at all productive. I don't feel motivated to do things. I don't feel at all calm. I don't feel hopeful. I don't feel encouraged or optimistic, and not at all on my life is satisfying. And then the daily mood log you brought in was, again, thinking about having cancer and dying. And then what is 24/7? Oh, okay.
All the time.
Even
at the intensive.
When you're at the intensive helping out, you're thinking this all the time. And you're sad and depressed, 100. Anxious, worried, panicky, nervous, and frightened, 100. You feel inferior, worthless, inadequate, defective, incompetent, 100. Lonely, 100. Hopeless, discouraged, pessimistic, despairing, 100. Frustrated and defeated, 100. Angry, annoyed, and upset, 100. And then there's, I think, a lot of negative thoughts here. Number 1, my life is over. And I think the belief in all the negative thoughts is 100. Well, there's a couple that are only 90 or something, but my life is over 100. There's nothing to live for, 100. The doctors are lying to me, 100. God has abandoned me, 100. I'm tired of having cancer. That's kind of an emotion, just feeling tired and fed up. I've lived an
unlived life.
I've lived an unlived life, and that's 90. I'm wasting time, 100. Even though I'm afraid of dying, I want this over, 100. I'm made a fool of myself.
At the intensive.
Oh, at the intensive, because I was distracted. Oh, I didn't know you'd made a fool of yourself. I'm pleased to hear that. I thought I was the only one. And 90, how did you make a fool of yourself?
I just didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay. I'm distracted because I'm always thinking about having cancer and dying, 100. That's not a negative thought. That's just a description of the situation. And then I want to drink, 100. So why don't you kind of tell us what's been going on? We've done a little testing here, and see if we can do some empathy, and then set an agenda and see what we can do to turn this thing around for you.
Yeah, again, it's just really hard dealing with the fact that I have cancer, and since I don't feel that sick and I don't look sick, people have a hard time believing that I have cancer, and I'm having more and more pain on my left side in the rib area, which is probably the bone cancer, which is terrifying. So I don't know whether I'm going to die of lung cancer or bone cancer or, a combination, or how I am going to die. So, and it's really hard for me to pray and to meditate because, again, I don't know if there is a God, or I feel like God has abandoned me. And on the other side, I know we're all going to die at some point. So then I get angry at myself for being so selfish and self-conscious, and just accept this, get over it. But it's hard to get over. And
let me stop you for just a second. I don't mean to interrupt, but could I add that as a new negative thought? I should just get over it?
Yes.
Because I don't think we have that thought written down. I should
just get over this.
Just get over this this upset or this anger or
the anger.
I should just get over this anger. And then what's the percent belief on that?
90.
90. Okay. And I'm sorry I interrupted you there.
It's okay.
I wanted to capture that one.
And
wait a minute. Can I also add I'm being selfish?
Yes. That's 100.
I just wanted to say that it's really great to be with you today, Marilyn. And I know when I'm feeling so, like I've had some times in my life where I felt pretty awful, and it's hard for me to do anything. So I'm really admiring you that you've come here today, and I do believe it's just a tremendous gift that you're given to the world to talk about these issues. They're very scary, they're very terrifying, and I suspect that this is something that will reach many, many people and help them. And that's just always been your way. You're so generous and so loving and so caring towards others. And for me, it feels like a tremendous honor and pleasure to be able to work with you again. So I wanted to thank you for that.
I have to second that.
I just don't really want to die. I'm so tired of waking up knowing I have cancer, and going to bed knowing I have cancer. It's like all there all the time. I know this pain, it's just awful.
Yeah, that thought that you don't want to die, but you don't want to keep living like this where every moment of your day is stolen from you, and just you can't pray, you're not at peace, you're scared the whole time and wondering how is this going to happen, and you're in pain, and it's just been miserable and terrifying.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm wasting time. I mean, all I do is watch TV because I have a hard time reading. I was really glad the intensive was here because it got me out of the house and got me doing something, got me around people, and I felt like I was doing something positive for myself and hopefully for other people. But other than that, I've just been, alone. And
it sounds like you also feel kind of guilty, like that you're just watching TV or wasting time. But I understand that. I would probably want distraction from what I was going through. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Sounds like it was a bright spot to be able to attend the intensive.
It's a gift.
A gift, yeah. I'm glad to hear that.
And it was a gift spending time with David and other people there that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, I love spending time with David.
And it's a gift being here today, too. I really appreciate you all being here. And I feel like I'm a burden.
Can I add that one, too? Yeah. Just, I'm a burden. Instead, I feel like I am a burden. I am a burden. And that's 100?
It's 100.
And I don't want to die. That's 100. Right?
Yes.
And I'm wasting time watching TV.
That's 100.
That's 100. And and also, can we add, I shouldn't be a burden?
I shouldn't be a burden. I should accept the fact I have cancer.
I should accept the fact.
I have cancer and I'm going to die of cancer.
One other thing you said a moment ago is that it's been hard for you to pray or to meditate. And I know you well enough that I know that those are maybe some of the most important activities in your life. Those are times when you feel most at peace, most calm. And
it's true.
And even that has been denied you recently. And there's a thought like maybe God has abandoned me, and it must feel kind of strange or weird to sacrilegious or something to feel some anger towards God. But
I'm very angry at God.
Yeah, but when you're going through something like this, it would make sense that you would feel that anger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I was really also wanted to say I was resonating with what you were saying, David, that these tune-ups are really wonderful opportunities to see people we've worked with in the past. And if we've done our job well as therapists, we become obsolete. And then we have to say goodbye, and it's kind of sad to say goodbye. And so it's always joyful to meet up again like this. For me.
Absolutely. How are you feeling being here right now with us, Marilyn?
I feel like I'm a burden. I feel like I should have been, quote unquote, cured the last time. And now I've slipped back. And I think part of it's due to the fact that last time I didn't have this pain. Now I have this pain. And I'm only seeing the doctor, the oncologist, once a month. I don't know if that's good news or bad news. And I'm now getting a shot for the bone cancer once a month.
So I'm a burden and shouldn't have slipped back. That's 100, and definitely. I shouldn't be a burden as 100, and I should accept the fact that I'm going to die as 100. And then, are you angry with David or angry with Matt that I should have been cured, and now I'm feeling very anxious and depressed again?
I'm angry at myself.
Mm-hmm.
And not at you or David or. Mm-hmm. I'm just angry at myself.
And what's the thought? I guess we have. I shouldn't have slipped back.
I shouldn't have slipped back. I should know and apply the tools on a daily basis. But again, it's the lack of motivation, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a thought like I shouldn't have relapsed.
I shouldn't have relapsed.
And on a daily basis, and I should have been using the
tools.
Yeah,
that I've learned from you all and that I've learned over the past 8 years.
How about is there a thought I should be more motivated?
I should be more motivated, definitely.
Sounds like you're feeling a lot of guilt or remorse, shame, bad feelings. Mm-hmm. Those are at 100%. How intense is that?
Oh, you didn't circle guilt.
Oh, now I would.
Guilt
talking
and
about
shame.
It now, yeah.
And then how strong are those?
100, definitely.
Uh-huh. I can go get some tissues. You're always the one that remembers you have tissue. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
And the box is right there.
So you're feeling right now, so it's kind of unpleasant right now, feeling like a burden, and feeling like ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any worries about what David and I think, or are you worried at all that we would be disappointed in you, or?
Yeah, I feel that you're probably disappointed in me, and why am I taking up your time?
That could also be an important negative thought.
You were at the intensive for 4 days. You probably want to spend some time with your wife, and you've got the kids and your wife, and you're taking off tomorrow with sounds like a lot of people and 20 kids.
I've got a bunch of these downstairs. Do you have any more on you? Need some more spots on the negative thoughts. Oh, great. And so I'm you don't need this.
I've got it on paper here.
You need
Thank
another
you.
one. You just gave a good negative thought, like what was it?
David and Matt are disappointed in me.
Oh yeah.
They'd rather be spending time with their family.
Are disappointed.
Because I failed.
And me.
And
because I failed. And then another negative thought. They'd rather
be with their families.
Be with their families. Yeah, my wife is working out in the gym right now, and I was just thinking how nice it would be to be with her, watching her work out in the gym.
Watching her sweat?
Yeah. I'm sorry. But anyway.
It's a good distraction.
But anyway, they'd rather be there with their families. When that went through your mind, was that, and that's another 100,
that's
right?
100, yes.
And David and Matt are disappointed in me. And then what would that tell you about the kind of guys they are, David and Matt?
Oh, that's my crazy, distorted thinking, because I don't believe, one part of me believes that, the other part knows better.
Right, but the part that believes that is kind of important to look at. So that part that believes it, what kind of adjectives, describe David and Matt? Doing a little interpersonal.
I love it, yeah.
Downward arrow. Warm and delightful.
Frustrated.
Our role, well, that's how we feel, but what adjectives describe us? The kind of people we are. Well, I mean, yeah. What kind of people are frustrated with?
People who have high standards, high expectations.
Mm-hmm. So we have, high expectations. What are some other words that describe?
If we were to imagine, if it were true that we were thinking, oh, what a burden it is that Marilyn has come in again, and she should have been more motivated. She should have used these tools.
Burdening us.
Yeah, she shouldn't have.
We don't want to be with her. We want to be with our family. So what would that tell you about the kind of guys we are? Like very loving, friendly.
Yeah, she's
devoted.
sick, but I don't want to be hanging out with her.
Yeah, exactly.
What would that
tell
about
you?
us?
My last thing was an attempt at humor, not effective. But,
I was distracted. Sorry. If that were true, it would mean that you don't care.
Yeah, uncaring.
Uncaring.
And demanding.
Mm-hmm. Frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Phony.
I just mean distorted adjectives. Phony, right. We're uncaring, demanded, frustrated, phonies.
About rejecting or dismissive.
Yep. Yeah,
Rejecting.
Unloving.
Uncaring.
Yeah, unloving, uncaring, frustrated.
Angry.
We're kind of angry.
Sounds like my mother.
Yeah. Call me mom. And then if those words describe our role in the relationship, what words describe Marilyn's role?
Stupid. Selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Unmotivated.
Mm-hmm.
We're only looking for negative qualities, though.
Demanding.
Mm-hmm. You are also demanding.
I'm demanding.
Mm-hmm.
Needy.
Mm-hmm. Lazy.
Very lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Selfish.
We got selfish. How about inferior?
Very inferior.
And then would we be superior?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. So we could add superior to our list of adjectives.
Lowly.
I
feel lowly.
Lowly, and then I'm uply.
You're uply, yeah. Highly uply. More uply than me. Wish I was uply.
Yeah.
I'm highly uply.
You're lowly until you forget it.
Thank you for reminding me.
Now, what emotions would I bumped the table there? I'm sorry for the sound. We're trying not to bump this table. What emotions would lowly, inferior, lazy, stupid, selfish, unmotivated, demanding, and needy Marilyn have in interacting with high expectations, uply, uncaring, demanding, frustrated, phony, rejecting, unloving, something and superior, and angry and superior us? What emotions would you have?
Anxious, guilty, ashamed.
Anxious,
Guilty, ashamed.
Ashamed, right.
Inadequate, defective, incompetent, foolish.
But definitely not angry.
Stuck.
Yeah, but you didn't
Not angry.
Yeah.
Angry at myself.
Right. You wouldn't have any anger toward demanding, phony, rejecting, unloving, superior, controlling.
Furious.
Furious. Not angry, but furious.
Furious.
Yeah, okay, furious. But you have to hide the anger toward us because, lowly...
People don't get furious.
Right.
But uply people.
Right. And would you also feel anxious?
Yes, definitely.
And would you also feel ashamed in your interaction with us?
Yes.
Ashamed and guilty.
Guilty. Inferior.
Yeah.
Inadequate. Defective.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then what rules connect the roles? What rules does stupid, selfish, unmotivated, demanding, needy, lazy, and purely lowly you have to follow to relate to superior, uply, phony, frustrated, angry, demanding, unloving, rejected, uncaring us?
I should know better.
Would that be a rule?
Maybe I have to suffer in silence.
I have to suffer in silence.
Okay. I have to suffer. What other rules do you have to follow?
I shouldn't ask for help.
Yes, I'm not allowed to ask.
I'm not allowed to help. I'm not allowed to ask for help.
What other rules?
I should do this alone.
One rule is to be alone.
To be alone.
I need to stay alone.
I need to stay alone. I need to stay quiet.
Oh yeah, stay alone. That's right. I need to stay quiet. That's right. Do you have to be submissive?
Extremely submissive. And guarded. I have to be guarded.
Hide your anger.
Definitely hide not only my anger, all my feelings.
Hide all my feelings, yeah.
Be invisible. I have to be invisible.
This is really well done. Invisible and hide all my feelings.
All my feelings.
All my feelings. Can you be assertive?
No, I have to be. No, I'm not allowed to be assertive. I cannot be assertive. Being assertive is frightening.
Yeah.
Because what would we do? Worst case scenario. What would
Put
you
me
be
down.
afraid of? Oh, if you were assertive, we would put you down. Okay. So we're rejecting and critical?
Very rejecting and critical.
Okay.
Again, the high expectations.
So we've got rejecting, but we can add critical to the words that describe our role. Well, this is a great list of rules. I'll read them, and you can see if any others come to mind. I have to suffer in silence, but actually I have to be silent, period.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not allowed to ask for help. I need to stay alone. I need to stay quiet. I have to be extremely submissive. I have to be guarded. I have to be invisible and hide all of my feelings. I cannot be assertive or I'll be put down. And any other rules that come to mind? I think we've got a great list here. Can you think of any more?
Well, knowing Marilyn, my guess is that it's her role to serve others, care for others, but always put herself last.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. I must. Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
I must put myself last. Yeah.
And put others first.
Yeah. Last and others first. And how about I cannot be important?
I am not important.
Yeah.
I cannot be important.
Yeah. I cannot be or act. I cannot be important.
I can't accept kindness or love.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't accept or expect.
That's good too.
Mm-hmm.
Kindness or love.
Expect or accept.
And I'm really sorry to take up your time. Yeah, I need to pull myself together. It's another rule.
I must pull myself together, and I can't be weak and emotional.
In front of you.
Yeah, I can't be weak or
emotional or real.
Emotional or real or vulnerable.
Vulnerable, yeah.
Real or vulnerable in front of you. And I can't express my anger or loneliness.
I cannot express my anger or loneliness for fear of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
I notice I'm just feeling really connected to you right now. Maybe there's a paradox in this work that the more you're sharing of your experience and your feelings and like how you feel like you need to be, the closer I feel to you. And I also feel sad that you're suffering in this way. But I have a lot of feelings of admiration and love and kindness towards you.
Thanks. That's the feeling you should add is suffering. I'm tired of suffering.
That's another negative thought. And that's 100, right?
Mm-hmm. And I'm tired of being selfish.
Tell me about the selfish piece. I'm not sure I quite grasp that one. I'm sure you're referring to something very real and very obvious, but I'm not. Do you see it, or what do you mean exactly?
Like taking up your time, taking up Fabrice's time, calling people and asking for help. I think it's very selfish. I should be able to get through this by myself.
So I'm taking up your time. That's 100,
Yeah.
and then I should get through this
For myself.
by myself, and that's probably another 100. Yeah.
I'm curious, David, what you often do next after this method. I know sometimes we've done like a feared fantasy or survey technique or good reasons to keep this role and these beliefs in place.
Well, I think we need to first of all find out how we're doing on empathy, and then we can go into the invitation step of agenda setting and see where you, Marilyn, would want to go with it. But I too am feeling sad, not only that you're suffering, but because of you're giving yourself all of these messages that you're not allowed to receive help or to reach out. And but how are we doing here in terms of understanding how you're thinking, and feeling on the one hand, on the other hand of providing warmth and support?
I would keep both of you in A. I feel a lot of acceptance and understanding and empathy and kindness and love, appreciation. It's yeah.
And is that real, or do you feel like obligated to tell us that?
No, it's very real.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm in awe. I mean, just in awe that. Because I don't feel worthy, and I feel that you're making me feel worthy. If that makes
Tricking
sense.
you. Can I put I'm not
It's
worthy?
working.
I'm not worthy as another negative thought. I'm not worthy. Well, it would be totally justified just to talk and vent today and get support. Also, if you would want, we could see what we can do to try to turn some of this around for you.
Yeah, I think I feel like I've done enough talking, so I want to move on and turn stuff around. These
One other question for you before we do that. We forgot to do physical pain, which isn't part of the daily mood log, but I've often added that. And right now, or at the beginning of the session, how much physical pain are you experiencing?
About 75%.
75%. Okay. And would you want some help with some of what's going on here?
Definitely. That's why I came.
Mm-hmm. What kind of help would you be hoping for if we were to have a really excellent session today and you went out at the end and said that really was great? What?
Well, I don't want to have all these negative thoughts, and I definitely want to have those feelings come down to a more manageable level instead of feeling bombarded by them.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can probably do that, but we might want to just step back a little bit before we do that, and again say, what do these negative thoughts and feelings show about you that's kind of positive and awesome, and also what are some positive benefits of these negative thoughts and feelings before we reduce them or blow them away.
I see no benefit. I mean, I'm looking at.
You're feeling incredibly sad and down and anxious and ashamed and inferior and lonely and hopeless and frustrated and angry and you say, I have nothing to live for. My life is over. God has abandoned me. David and Matt are superior jerks.
I didn't say that.
Well, what's implied?
We know what you're thinking.
I've lived an unlived life. I'm wasting time. Well, let me put it to you like this.
So many.
Well, there's a lot of negative thoughts and a lot of negative feelings, and they're all extreme. Suppose that you were in the therapist role and you were working with someone much like yourself. This is like a new use of the double standard technique on the agenda setting phase. Could you find some positives in this, say, patient of yours or client of yours? Would you say to her, well, this doesn't show, there's no positives here. There's nothing positive about you here.
If I had a client like this, I definitely would say that she had a lot of courage.
Well, I love that. Put that down, number one. Shows I have a lot of courage. And what is it that shows that you have a lot of courage?
Being honest and genuine and vulnerable.
Could we add that as number two? Shows I'm honest,
genuine,
genuine,
and vulnerable.
And vulnerable. Are those good things?
Definitely.
But what else do the negative thoughts and feelings show about you that's positive, or this imaginary patient of yours? What else does show about her that's kind of awesome and positive? Like,
I'm realistic.
Right. Now she's saying that the doctors are lying to me. God has abandoned me. Those thoughts show anything positive about her?
She has hope.
The thought God has abandoned me means I have hope?
Yeah, because I hope that God hasn't abandoned me.
Oh, is that a good thing?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I have hope.
That God is there.
Mm-hmm. That God is there.
And I have hope that doctors know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. Is that true?
Yes, definitely.
But the fact that
you and Matt know what you're doing too.
Well, we don't, but the other doctors do. But when you're doubting that God is there, and you're doubting that the doctors are telling the truth and so forth, what does that show about this woman that's positive and awesome?
I don't know.
Well, what would you say to a colleague who's thinking, I'm thinking that God has abandoned me? What would you say? Oh, gosh, you're really screwed up?
Definitely no.
What would you say? I mean, would that show something positive about a colleague? Or a patient?
I think it shows that they have some type of belief system or spiritual. They have some kind of spiritual sense to themselves. Does that make sense?
Well, sure. Is that a good thing?
Definitely.
Is that real?
Yes.
Okay, put that down. That shows I have a spiritual self, but I need you to explain this to me. How can my belief that God has abandoned me show that I have a spiritual sense? Doesn't that show that I've lost my spiritual sense?
No, because I think
and I'm very angry at God. That's wrong of me, isn't it?
No. That's not wrong at all. It's very real. I think your anger and your belief that God has abandoned you shows that there's a deep longing for connection.
Is that a good thing?
Definitely. I have a deep longing for connection.
A deep longing for connection. Oh, I see. So I wouldn't be upset that God was abandoning me if I didn't have a deep longing for a connection. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely.
Oh, I think I see that now. What are some good things about your depression, which is 100 is the most intense depression a human being can feel, although the brief mood survey was only 19 out of 20, but certainly in the what are some good things about that?
Again, it shows I'm realistic. It shows that I'm vulnerable. It shows that I have a heart.
Do you have a heart?
Yes, I definitely have a heart.
Put that down, number 8. I have a heart.
And I have compassion.
Is that good?
Definitely. I can suffer with.
And this may seem like a stretch, but does your depression show your passion for life, your fear of death show your passion?
Definitely. Oh,
Is that a good thing?
Yes. Yeah, I want to live a joyful life.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Right. Like today, do you?
Yes, right now.
Yeah. That's certainly. But last time, Fabrice nudged me. Let Matt do more. You're doing this too much. So
I've been enjoying watching the master at work and would gladly continue. I'm also seeing in every thought and every feeling many wonderful things about Marilyn, and I'd be happy to pick up and look at some of those with you if you like.
Yeah, please.
You have a rule about putting yourself last and others first. What does that say that's good about you?
I like to be of service to others.
Is that a good thing?
Yes.
You have a concern about being a burden. What does that say that is good about you?
I had a patient at Stanford on the inpatient unit who wanted to commit suicide because of her bipolar illness. One of her thoughts is, I'm a burden to my family, to my doctors, to my children, so I should commit suicide. She's no longer with us. No, I'm just teasing. No, she was able to turn this around. I'm sorry, but okay. What does that thought show about her? That's really beautiful. Does it show something beautiful about her?
That she's got a passion for life. Mm-hmm. That she again is willing to get help.
But when she says, "I'm a burden to my doctors, my husband, my children, my parents," does that thought show something beautiful about her?
Only thing I can think of is it shows humility.
Is that a good thing?
Yes.
Are you humble?
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it also show her love for her children and her husband and her doctors?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. I have love for the people I know.
People I know.
Is that a good thing?
Yes, very.
And is that revealed?
Loving and care.
Mm-hmm. Of love and caring.
Caring for people I know and people I care about.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Is that real?
That's definitely real.
Even, I think, sometimes thoughts like, I want to drink, can show something good about you.
Again, it shows honesty, and it shows my willingness to know how to take care of myself by going to a meeting or calling my sponsor.
But what does just the thought I want to drink show about you that's really cool?
I can't answer that at all. I can't think of anything positive about that.
Well,
If I had a client that said they wanted to drink, again, I would comment on their honesty and their willingness to talk about it.
Yeah, well, we've got honesty already.
But willingness to...
But the urge to drink, why is that a good thing?
Would you
Probably going into forbidden territory here, but it seems kind of obvious.
Would you enjoy that?
Definitely.
Would it bring you some relief?
Definitely.
So is the urge to bring yourself relief and to enjoy
Escape.
things, is that a good thing?
Oh, yeah. The urge to...
Put it down there. Shows the my desire for
pleasure,
for pleasure and enjoyment and relief.
Definitely. Boy, I haven't thought about that. That's great.
Isn't that neat?
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Let's have some wine.
I think
I'll have water.
We'll turn it into wine.
Yeah.
I heard that's been done before.
Yeah, it's an old trick.
I haven't done that for a while, though.
It has been a couple weeks. And I think the anger can also say, there are other things that the anger can... You said like a sense of feeling furious even. I think that could say some really good things about you.
But I feel intensely about, again, people and the... I'm going to be more global, but the environment and... because I'm thinking of Trump, so I'm getting really furious. But
well, that would give us something to, kind of help pull you out of the depression.
Definitely.
Just meditate on Trump.
Definitely pull me out of my depression and activate me to do something. But I think the anger. Again, the anger for me is just about feeling very passionate.
Is that good to feel passionate?
Yes.
Put that down. The anger shows my passion. Does it also show your values, your moral values?
Oh, definitely.
Is that a good thing?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I hadn't. Yeah, that's very good. True.
And a sense of fairness and justice.
Justice. Yeah. And doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Wanting to protect yourself and protect others.
Definitely.
Sticking up for yourself and others.
Mm-hmm.
That could be another one. Sticking up for self and others.
Defending.
Mm-hmm.
Sticking up and defending self and others.
Boy, I hadn't thought about that. That's wow.
It's cool, huh?
That's really cool. Brings down the depression quite a bit.
Yeah, well, we don't bring it down too far.
I won't.
Okay. The
anxiety is high as well.
Yeah, the anxiety, the hopelessness. What do they show about you that's positive and awesome?
Again, that I long for a better life. That does make sense. I can't. I think it's been said. I mean, it says something about being passionate, being.
Well, just look at the anxiety. You're worrying. What are some benefits? If you press the magic button, your anxiety will totally disappear.
Yeah, the anxiety has been a motivator.
Okay, is that true?
Yes, it is.
Put that down. The anxiety is a motivator. Does it also keep you vigilant?
Definitely keeps
Is that
you vigilant.
good?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Anxiety.
And it makes me ask for help.
Oh, that's a good one. Yes. The anxiety makes that's super important, right?
Definitely.
It makes me reach out for help. Mm-hmm. Reach out for help. And then, how about the hopelessness? What are some really awesome things about the hopelessness? Oh, by the way, you don't you feel embarrassed, foolish, humiliated,
No.
self-conscious?
No, I do.
What is the hopelessness? What are some good things about the hopelessness? There's a lot of things that this shows about you that are positive.
I can't. My mind is really a blank because I just like I'm in this morass of hopelessness.
Right. Well, I can think of two things right off the bat. Matt can probably think of more, and you may be able to think of more. But number one, is the hopelessness realistic?
Definitely.
Is that good to be realistic?
Yeah. I would have said that, but
In other words, you're willing to look into the chasm and
look into the dark night of the soul.
Yes. Is that good?
That's very good.
Could we add that?
Yes.
Yes, to experience the dark experience.
The dark night of the soul.
Yeah, because without the hopelessness, it's not the dark night of the soul.
With open hands and heart and soul.
Yeah, put that down. Experience the dark night of the soul with open hands.
Soul and heart.
Yes, to receive.
Mm-hmm.
Open hands, soul, and heart.
And to be surprised.
Yeah, to receive and be surprised. Be surprised, right?
And to remember. I mean, just thinking about this. To remember to be grateful.
Is that good?
Yes.
And put that down too. Helps remember to be grateful. Remember to be
grateful.
To be grateful. Now you're also embarrassed, foolish, humiliated, and self-conscious. 100. What are some wonderful things about being humiliated?
Should have a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Number one humiliator.
Yeah, right. Right. What does that show about you? That's really
It shows I'm better than Trump.
Yeah. That's true.
I have to edit that out.
Yeah. So
it shows
some humility, right?
Yeah, it shows humility.
And we've got that already. Humility's on our list already, number 12. But what else does it show?
Again, honesty.
We've got honesty already. But you're embarrassed here, right? With us, right?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
So what does that show that's really, really neat about you?
Again, I'm being open and honest and being real.
That's all great stuff. That's all true. But what does it show you want in your interaction with Fabrice?
I want help.
And David. But what else?
I want to get better. I want to.
But how do you want us to feel about you?
I want you to like me.
Is that good?
Yes.
Put that down.
I want to be liked, yeah.
I want to be liked.
And respected.
Well, liked. Is that good?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And included.
And included.
And to stand as equals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to have something good to offer.
Yes, definitely.
I want to have a good self to offer.
Yeah. I want something to offer.
Yeah.
Good self to offer is good, yeah. I want to make a difference.
Yeah, I want to make a difference.
I want my life to count.
And is that good?
Yes.
Yeah. Want my life.
I want to remember. I want to be remembered as a good person.
Yeah. Someone who contributed.
Yes.
You think we're doing that today?
Yes, definitely. I hope.
Yeah. Actually,
I believe that. I actually believe that.
Actually, we're not.
No, I believe that.
So what did you just say? That was really fantastic. I want to be remembered. What did you say?
That I made a difference in my life.
I want to be...
that I made a difference in the lives of others.
Yeah. And we can be doing that right at this moment. It's kind of interesting.
I'd like to make a difference in your lives.
Yeah. I want to remember as someone who made a difference. made a difference in the lives of others, including today.
Definitely.
Including, well, we could go on with this, and you may have more good nuggets here, Matt. I'm up to 25, and there's kind of a point where you get so much gold you can't carry it out of the mine anymore.
I feel a little bit that way. I noticed that when you were doing the interpersonal downward arrow, Marilyn was sort of reciting things about herself she didn't like, but the flip sides would be the things that really are her values. Like, she wants to be bright and intelligent, selfless and giving, to make a difference, to be motivated, to be independent,
caring, passionate,
caring, hardworking,
learning.
Those all seem like wonderful qualities to me as well.
Yeah.
Really glad to be here with you today, Marilyn.
Thanks.
You are making a difference in my life.
Thanks.
You just let the tears come.
Just so grateful that I'm alive and know you two. You three.
We're grateful too, Marilyn.
I really need to see the cat this morning too.
What did you say about the cat?
Visually need to see the cat this morning.
Oh yes, yeah. It was so beautiful to see little Misty, and she was flirting with you and sniffing your hand, and
That's the stuff I'm gonna miss. I'm really gonna miss it. It's like the unconditionality of that cat this morning. It really mirrors what I'm feeling here, the unconditional care from the three of you. I feel so blessed. I'm sorry.
I feel that too, Marilyn. I feel grateful to be with you.
how many people do you think are with us today as this goes forward and is published and people are listening? There will be a lot of people with us.
Probably dozens.
How does it feel to be crying and surrendering to those emotions?
I feel very much alive. I haven't cried in a long time.
Is that right? You don't cry when you're home alone?
Yeah,
You do or don't?
I do.
Oh, you do, yeah.
Sorry.
Do we need more Kleenex? Oh, we've got it over there. Yeah. Oh, good. We do have it here. You said it's been a long time since you cried? How long?
I think the last time I cried was when the doctor at the told me I had stage 4 cancer. it was incurable.
It must have been 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah, it was in April.
In April, May, June, July, August, almost 4 months ago, maybe?
Definitely. Yeah, it was 4 months ago.
Oh.
Marilyn, you were talking about things you were going to miss, like the unconditional interaction that you had with David's cat, Misty. What else are you going to miss? What do you love about life?
I'm going to miss my dog.
Your dog. Yeah.
And Cleo.
Cleo.
My next neighbor.
How old is she now?
She's 17. She told me she doesn't want me to die.
She's going to miss you.
Yeah.
And she loves you.
I've never loved anybody like I love Cleo. I mean, she's the only... When she was born and it was taken care of her, I realized that I would lay down my life for her if I had to. And I've never felt that way before.
That sort of willingness to sacrifice everything for another person.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful quality that you have.
And she's kind of a little vulnerable, right?
Yeah, she is
Much
very
like,
vulnerable.
Much like Misty,
Oh.
the kitty.
She's very down to earth. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Which I really love about her. There's no phoniness. It's like, being here with you all. I have that same feeling with the cat and with my dog. And I'm also going to miss nature. I love seeing the moon at night and the stars and the redwood trees, the ocean, the ocean and the rivers.
It sounds like you have tremendous gratitude for so many of the things in life.
Yeah.
Especially those really genuine relationships with people.
Yeah, and the preciousness of life.
Well, I don't mean to interrupt your beautiful outpouring of emotion, but I'm wondering, would this be a good time for us to begin to turn some of this around? I wouldn't want to turn around what you're doing now, because I think this is beautiful tears, that kind of spiritual tears, but some of the depression and shame, would this be a good time to do that?
Yeah.
I mean,
It'd be nice to have tears of joy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in fact, why don't I be your secretary here? Okay. No, I'll ask you to do this. You have a pen. Suppose we had a magic dial, and because this is showing a lot of beautiful things about you. What would we dial the sadness and the depression down to? What would be a healthy number? If you could set it anywhere today between
15.
15. Okay. How anxious would you want to be today?
15.
15. How ashamed?
5. Inferior.
How inferior and inadequate do you want to feel?
5.
Mm-hmm.
Lonely. 5.
Mm-hmm.
Embarrassed, foolish. 5. Hopeless, discouraged. 0. Frustrated, defeated. 0. Angry. 5. The pain. 0.
Okay, let's see what we can do here. Which of these? So just for teaching, we're done with the paradoxical agenda setting, and now we're going to use some methods. We've done testing, we've done empathy, we've done our paradoxical agenda setting, and now we're going to use some methods. And you've really given us many thoughts. A lot of them are in my handwriting, so I might have to read them to you, but yours are in your handwriting. And we need one thought to start out on, and I can tell you some of the ones over here too. I'm not worthy, David and Matt are disappointed in me because I failed. They'd rather be with their families. I'm tired of suffering. That's not a negative thought. I'm tired of suffering. That's just a feeling. I'm taking up your time, which is really, I shouldn't be taking up your time. I should get through this by myself. I want to drink. That's just a desire. That's not a negative thought. I should just let go of this anger. I'm being selfish. I'm wasting time when I'm watching TV. I don't want to die. Again, that's just a desire. I am a burden. I shouldn't be a burden. I should accept that I'm going to die of cancer. I am a burden. I should use the tools that, on a daily basis that David, that I learned.
And slip back. That's the one.
Okay. Now, what are the distortions in that one? It's right here, if you can read it. In fact, What are they? Yeah.
All or nothing thinking.
So put AON. Is it here? Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Here. Yeah.
Down here? Okay.
Overgeneralization, OG.
Mm-hmm.
Mental filter.
Mm-hmm.
Discounting the positives.
Mm-hmm.
Mind reading.
Mm-hmm.
Magnification.
Mm-hmm.
Shared statement of
Mm-hmm. SH. You can add
self-blame.
Yeah, SH, SB. Now explain these. I'm a burden.
All or nothing. Then I shouldn't have slipped back.
Yeah.
I should have used, because I should have used, I shouldn't be back here.
Yeah. Why is that all or nothing thing?
Because I'm seeing things in absolute black and white. There's no in between or gray area. It's overgeneralization because it is a pattern of this never ending sense of defeat.
Oh yes, and also when you say this, I should. What is the thought? I shouldn't be a burden, and I shouldn't have slipped back. What is the exact thought?
I shouldn't be a burden and slip back by slipping back.
Yeah, I shouldn't be a burden. I shouldn't have slipped back. So, are you also overgeneralizing to yourself? Yourself is a burden.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And why is that a distortion?
Because I slip all the time, and that's how I learn.
Right. And why is it discounting the positive? Did you say discounting the positive?
Discounting the positive.
Why are you discounting the positive right now?
Because I'm not looking at. I'm not seeing the positive that's happening right now.
What is the positive that's happening right now? Aren't you being a burden right now?
No, I don't think so. I think
no.
Why not? Because I'm learning a lot more about myself than I did, half an hour ago.
Yeah, but aren't you being a burden? There might be thousands of people listening to this podcast, maybe tens of thousands, even more conceivably over time. So aren't you just burdening all those people?
No. My desire would be that I'm helping people, being of help and being a motivator.
Oh, I see. And then why is it a should statement? I love what you're saying.
It should not be a should statement.
Yeah.
I might be a burden, or possibly. No, I'm not a burden.
And why am I not a burden?
Because I'm helping. I might be helping people I don't even know.
Is that true or just some bullshit?
That's true, and that's kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah. So could you write that right here? A positive thought. I love what you're saying. Just say it out loud as you're.
I might be helping people I don't even know. Thanks to me, David, Matt, and Fabrice.
Right, and how much do you believe that between
definitely 100%.
And how much do you believe I shouldn't be a burden?
Zero.
Zero. And also, what are some other really wonderful things about slipping back? Why is that? Even another bonus above and beyond the cancer and death piece. So you slip back, and now we're having a podcast on that. Why would that be a good thing?
because I think it's teaching me, and hopefully it'll teach other people, that it's okay to slip back because that's part of life, and I have to accept the fact that you take 3 steps forward, you take 1 step back, you take 3.
Is that true, or are you just bullshitting?
No, that's true. It's like
I remember watching, but most people don't slip back.
We all slip back. That's bullshit. I remember watching Cleo when she was learning how to walk, and she'd fall down, and part of me would say, just stay down. But the other part of me was cheering, come on, Cleo, get up, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this.
Yeah.
And she'd, take a couple of steps and she'd fall back, and then she'd pull herself up again, and she'd,
Was she a burden then?
No, she was a joy to watch.
How do you think it makes us feel to help you?
I'm hoping it's a joy.
It absolutely is.
But yeah, yeah.
But let me ask you this other question though: isn't it wrong for me to be a burden?
No, I think being a burden enables me. I hope to be of service.
But shouldn't I be strong though? So I'm not a burden. I'm being a burden to David and Fabrice and Matt. That's bad, right? To be a burden, I shouldn't be a burden, particularly a lowly one like me.
Burden's not the right word. I don't feel like a burden. I feel like I'm being useful. So,
is that true, or am I just
I really
bullshitting?
I'm really getting that I'm being useful.
But it is true that I'm not worthy, right?
No, I am worthy. I am worthy.
Would you write that right here? I am worthy. How much do you believe that?
100%.
How much do you believe I'm not worthy?
5.
5. Okay. Do you want us just to dive in and start ripping the flesh from your bones with externalization of voices, or you want to try double standard?
Let's do the externalization of voices.
You want to go powerful? You want to start it off?
I'd be delighted to.
Oh, you've got them written down there?
Yeah.
You don't need this? Okay.
Well, we'll start with that one. Marilyn, you're not worthy.
At times I don't feel worthy, and I think everybody experiences that they don't feel worthy. But I also feel that I am worthy. I'm worthwhile. I have a lot of gifts. I know I've made a difference in people's lives. I'm hoping I'm making a difference today in people's lives and in your life as well. And I'm hoping there's kind of a ripple effect so that somehow it impacts, the children and the cat.
Who won there?
I did. Big, huge.
Huge.
Great. Should we take turns?
Yeah.
Okay. But I know you beat that negative Marilyn over there, but this negative Marilyn, you're not. It's going to be too formidable for you. And I wanted to remind you that you should be more motivated.
Yeah. Well, I could have stayed, and I did. I thought about calling this morning and saying, I'm going to stay home, but I said no. This is something I want to do. I need to do this for myself. It's okay for me to be selfish today. I want to spend time with Matt and David and Fabrice. I want to see the cat. I want to, do the podcast. So that's,
So who won?
I did.
Big or small?
Huge.
Huge.
Yeah, I really believe that.
Yeah.
I am motivated, and I would like to be motivated more. Mm-hmm. And I think I know what to do, because I think the motivation is really part of my procrastination, and I learned more about that especially yesterday.
Yeah. What did you learn yesterday, or what?
But they
on the procrastination
yeah.
thing at the workshop. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll show you
baby steps.
Oh yeah, I'll show you another way to deal with. I should be more motivated. Do a role. You won huge, so it's not necessary to do a role reversal.
Well, no, I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Marilyn, you're absolutely not motivated at all.
That's not the thought.
Oh. I should be more motivated.
Yeah, so you should be
more motivated.
So go ahead.
Marilyn, you should be more motivated.
No, I should be very unmotivated.
Why?
Because I'm very depressed and I have cancer. Those are rather unmotivating circumstances. And it's a miracle that I'm as motivated as I am.
That's true.
How was that?
That's very true.
Is that good?
You won that one.
Yeah, okay. That's just an opposite, an opposite way. Your turn, Matt. Was that helpful?
I like that.
David, you're the master. Okay, so I'm your negative thoughts again, Marilyn. You should have been cured last time.
I don't think I will ever be cured. I don't think anyone ever gets cured. Again, I think it's just part of life that you fall down, and I had the wherewithal and the courage to pick myself up and ask for help, and I think that's a good thing.
I liked that. How did you feel about that response?
I felt good.
Did you win?
Yeah, I really believe that too.
Big or huge?
Huge.
Huge. Okay. Well, but the fact, Marilyn, and I didn't want to hurt your feelings or anything. I would never do that. But I did want to remind you that there is nothing to live for. And just by the way, for the podcast listeners, we're just reading your negative thoughts to you using the second person you. And if you haven't heard a previous podcast, this technique is called externalization of voices. Probably we need to explain that so they don't think we're a couple monsters here.
Right.
Beating up on
I think
Marilyn.
I just dove right into it. Yeah.
We're the negative Marilyn here. But there's nothing to live for.
That's definitely not true. I have a lot to live for. I mean, there's Cleo, my dog. Being able to go to the intensive, being able to take a walk in the morning around the block, having friends, going to AA meetings. I have a lot to live for, and that's
Who won?
I did, and I'm very grateful that I have a lot to live for.
You win big or small?
Huge. I think I won huge.
Huge. Okay, your turn.
I'm your negative thoughts again, Marilyn, and I don't want to bring you down either. I just wanted to let you know that God has abandoned you.
Yes, I have.
I knew it. That's yeah. That one I can't do. Not to do.
Okay. Shall we do a role reversal?
Yeah. So, Marilyn, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but God has abandoned you.
I'm definitely feeling pretty pissed off at God right now. This has not been an easy stretch of road for me. I've experienced tremendous pain and loneliness and depression of late. And I've even felt kind of reluctant to reconnect with God, to pray, to sit there and ask for forgiveness and his help. But I suspect he's there. If I would reach out to him, he might be there right now even. But I'm pissed at him.
You have a right to be.
How was that? Did that win? Or
that's making sense. The other thing I would add is I'm experiencing God right now in this moment, being here.
Yes, my dear. Right, and I'll show you another. So that's great. That's great. And I'll show you another way to deal with this thought. We could rewrite it as I should not feel like God has abandoned me.
Definitely.
And
I feel like I've been betraying my spiritual self.
Yeah, I think that. So, can I talk to you for a minute, Marilyn? Yeah. I've heard through the grapevine that you feel that God has abandoned you. I was just shocked to hear that about you. You should not feel that God has abandoned you. You should be like us. We have our faith is like Mount Everest.
I think it's okay to doubt, and I think everybody doubts and gets angry at God. So I don't think it's a should statement. I think it's part of life, and I think when faced with the adversities of life, people really do question, and they're like propelled to the edge of the cliff, and that's kind of where I am right now. But I feel I know if I jump, there'll be somebody there to catch me.
So you're saying it's okay to doubt God's existence or God's love?
Yes, I think it's very, very okay to doubt God's existence.
But I heard you were pissed at God.
I'm very pissed at God. And I think it's okay to be angry at God at the same time. It's like, I can be angry and loving at the same time. If I don't love somebody, I wouldn't bother being angry with them.
Okay, so who won?
I did.
Big or small?
Big.
Big or huge?
Huge.
Huge return.
Let's see now. Marilyn, I hear that you're spending a lot of time watching television. Mm-hmm. So you admit that you're wasting your time?
I just want to add that we can put up with, dissing God, but watching television, that's sinking very low.
I'm hoping God would appear on TV. I surf the channels, but no luck so far.
So look out for Morgan Freeman. He's there.
Oprah's there too.
Yeah.
I do feel like I'm wasting time watching TV.
So the thought is, I shouldn't waste time.
I shouldn't be wasting time watching TV because I don't have that much. I don't know how much time I have left. So I get angry at myself because I'm watching so much TV, and I feel like I'm addicted to it. And I also enjoy it.
Well, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't enjoy watching television.
Oh, I do love it, especially certain shows. But again, if I'm motivated, I get myself out of the house and do things like going to the intensive, taking my dog for a walk, going with Danielle and taking our dogs to Point Isabel for a walk, being around people, being around other dogs. So I'm not watching TV 24/7, but I do feel, and again, it's about procrastination. I mean, I feel
you're watching too much television.
I am watching too much TV. Absolutely, absolutely.
You want to do a role reversal?
Which one?
In that.
Okay, Marilyn, I'm shocked at how much TV you're watching. I think you're really wasting your time watching so much TV.
Actually, I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. There's certain shows that when I'm watching them, I'm just having a great time. And I also love many other things in life, and I want to do them all. I want to go walk my dogs and be interacting with people. I just don't want to be beaten up on myself and shooting myself, and I've had enough of that. That seems like the real waste of my time.
I like that.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Try a role reversal.
Oh, yeah, you shouldn't be wasting time watching television.
I do enjoy it, and I enjoy certain TV shows, and it's a wonderful escape. I mean, I get involved with these characters as if they're real, but I'm also motivated to do other things, like take my dog for a walk and be with friends, and my friends coming to visit me in 2 weeks. I'm having lunch with people. So I am getting out and about, and I also enjoy watching TV, and I'm going to continue watching TV and feel okay about it.
That sounded great. Who won there?
I did.
Big or small?
Big.
Big or huge?
Huge.
Huge. Excellent.
So you're done with that one, right? But
it's amazing how much better I feel.
Isn't it? Mm-hmm. Interesting? Yeah. But
I'm lighter. I feel lighter.
Yeah. Well, don't get too light here because we don't want you to start floating or something.
I won't.
You're taking up the time of David and Matt, who'd rather be with their families, and Fabrice, and the tens of thousands of people who are listening to this podcast.
Those are two separate things. I do feel like I'm taking up...
You're taking up
the
David's time and Matt's time and Fabrice's time.
Yes,
yeah.
I do believe that. Mm-hmm. I do believe that.
Well, the thought is you shouldn't be, right?
I shouldn't be taking up your time.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't have slipped. But we've already dealt with that because I understand. Mm-hmm. It's okay it's okay for anybody to slip. We're all going to slip. I'm going to slip again. Mm-hmm. And that's... in that way, I don't feel like I'm taking up your time. I feel like maybe I'm helping you feel like you're contributing to making me feel better, as well as to the people who are going to be listening to this podcast. So
who won?
I did.
Big or small?
Big.
Big or huge?
Big.
We're going to do a role reversal.
I really feel, Marilyn, that you're taking up the time of Fabrice and David and Matt by being here.
Okay, Matt will answer that.
I am, and I'm having a great time, and I think they are too.
I like that.
So, was that huge?
Yeah, that was
do
huge.
a role reversal. No, you shouldn't be taking up David's time and Matt's time and Fabrice's time. Shame on you.
Filling them with joy and laughter like that.
Yeah, you're not worthy enough. They're uppies or highies, or you're a lowly.
I'm a lowly. You're upply, whatever it was.
Yeah, they're upplies and you're a lowly.
I don't feel like I'm... Yeah, but part of me believes I'm taking up your time, but a bigger part of me believes that you are helping me, you're helping other people, and we are having fun, and I think we're enjoying I know we're enjoying each other's company.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I'm giving them a tremendous opportunity, not only to connect with me as a friend, as a human being, but to deliver a tremendously important message to the world as best we can.
I agree with that totally.
Is that big or?
That's huge.
Huge.
That's over the top.
Okay, and I know they gave you some monkey business just now, but remember that you're wasting, taking up time. You shouldn't be taking up Matt's time and David's time and Fabrice's time.
I don't think I'm taking up... I really believe it now. I don't think I'm taking up your time. I think that we're here... You're here because you want to be here. You want to help me, and you want to be of service to the people who are going to be listening to this podcast. So I absolutely don't believe that anymore.
Okay, we're done with that one?
We're done with that
Your
one.
turn.
Completely.
Well, I also noticed that you want to drink. You shouldn't want that.
I'm shocked to hear that.
I do want to drink. It was very tempting to see all that wine at the intensive. Yeah, I do want to drink, and that's part of being an alcoholic, and I have to accept that, and that's not going to go away. That's something I'm going to struggle with over and over, and I now have tools to deal with that I didn't have 2 or 3 years ago.
Good. Who won there?
I did, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. You win huge?
Yes, huge.
Great.
Okay, well, you beat Matt down on that negative thought, or that Marilyn over there you beat down, but I do want to remind you, and don't you forget it, that you've lived an unlived life.
I don't believe that. I was thinking, as we've been sitting here and knowing the work that the three of you have contributed, that I also have made a difference in people's lives, and especially, I hope, and I know I've made a difference in Khalil's life, but I have lived a very fulfilling life, which is one of the reasons why I'm upset about having cancer and facing, death, because I want to continue living a full life.
Who won?
I did.
Big or small?
Big.
Big or huge?
Huge.
Huge, right. Okay, your turn. We may be running out of bullets soon, but do you have some more, Matt?
I can try this one. I'm not sure if I've got it exactly right, but Marilyn, you're just doomed to be miserable because you don't want to die, but you don't want to keep going. You're exhausted, and this is just awful, but you also don't want to die. So I'm sorry, but you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, I do feel screwed. I mean, I don't want to die, but I'm really, tired of, did I take my pill? Driving down to Stanford, and seeing the oncologist, walking into the oncology. I'm just tired of, waking up in the morning, remembering yet again, oh yes, I have cancer, but I don't want to die. So I have to, I guess, hold the ambivalence of both of those at the same time, which is difficult, but it's the reality of where my life is right now today, and will be tomorrow.
Who won?
I did.
Big or small?
Big.
Big or huge?
Big.
Big. Do you want to do a role reversal?
Yeah.
I'll do it with you if you want, or you can do it.
Sure.
Yeah, you do it. We both have ammo on this one. You get Matt's bullets first.
So, Marilyn, you have cancer. You got to take this medication. You've got to go to Stanford once a month. You've got to remember, get all these tests done, and it's getting to be exhausting, and it's a real drain, and at the same time you don't want to die.
Yeah, it is exhausting and a drain every day, and terrifying to think about dying. And I'm also noticing I think I'm in pretty good company. As far as I know, 100% of people die. That we all go through this at some point in our life, and I feel tremendous sense of connectedness and compassion for all of us who are suffering and going through something like this, more so than maybe I've ever felt in my whole life, and it is exhausting. It's terrifying and it's scary. But I think most people feel that, and I'm in good company.
You won.
Did I win there?
Yeah, huge.
Okay.
I like that.
David probably has another.
Well, for a huge, we just leave it at that. But I wanted to, if you need another one on that, I do. But you're being just a little selfish, aren't you? And you shouldn't be selfish.
I think it's okay to be selfish at times. I think it's a way of taking care of myself. I think it shows self-love. And I won huge.
Huge. Just tell me, but you're just exhausted with the cancer. Say that to me.
I am exhausted.
Say that to me.
I'm exhausted with the cancer. You're exhausted with the cancer.
No. I'm exhausted listening to your bullshit.
I believe that too.
Is that helpful?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Is there anything left? You look at your sheet here. We might have them all, but I've got my handwriting ones here. See if there's anything.
There's some when we were doing the interpersonal downward arrow that came up, like I should do this alone. I should just be suffering in silence and those sort of things. Would those be worthwhile?
No, we're just looking at distorted thoughts.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I'll leave those.
Hit her with those. See.
Marilyn, your role in what you should be doing is to just be alone, quietly. Could you be more invisible, please?
Oh, love the movie The Invisible Man.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I'm not alone, and I don't want to be alone, which is again one reason why I'm here today, and I'm grateful that I'm not alone, and I don't want to be. I really don't want to be, and I know I'm not going through this alone. I mean, and I feel when I see people who are really much more ill than I am, that I'm grateful that for whatever reason this cancer that I have isn't as debilitating as many people with cancer go through, or other life-threatening diseases like ALS. In some ways, this cancer's been a gift, and because it's enabling me to reach out to people, to enable me, for example, to do this podcast.
Good. Who won there?
I did.
Big or small?
Big.
Big or huge? Huge. Is there anything left?
I don't think so.
So let's see how your negative feelings are now. How sad and depressed are you feeling at this moment?
10. Anxious, panicky. 5.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty, ashamed. 0. Inferior, worthless, inadequate. 0. Lonely, definitely 0. Embarrassed, foolish, 0. Hopeless, discouraged, pessimistic, 0. Frustrated, defeated, 0. Angry, probably a 1.
Mm-hmm.
The pain, it's there, but it's bearable. So I'll put 25 instead of 75.
Great. And then what would you say were the healing dimensions here?
Well, I'm just always blown with looking at the positives of my negative thoughts.
The positive reframing.
The positive reframing.
Yeah.
That always just blows my mind.
What was blowing your mind about it? What were the things that were most impactful there on that list of positives? I mean, there were so many. I have 25 positives that the negatives were revealing about you.
Yeah, but that deep longing for connection, that I am compassionate, passion for life, that
Humble?
Humble, humility, spiritual, able to ask for help, able to reach out, willing to experience the dark night of the soul with open hands.
Is that important?
That to me, that's very important. That to me is a high priority.
Yeah.
It's like,
But you're losing your faith in God.
I wouldn't be the first one.
But that's wrong of you.
No, I wouldn't be the first one.
God can't take it if you're angry with him or her. Yeah.
God is much stronger than that.
Why is that important to you, by the way, to be able to have that experience?
I've had that experience since I was a kid. This connection to God, or to whatever. I remember we used to live very close to the church, and I could walk to church. And in those days, the Catholic Church doors were always open. And I remember one day going to church during the summertime, and I started crying in the church because I wanted to let God out of the box on the altar of the tabernacle. Because I want God to come out and play with me, and see the blue sky, and what formations are the clouds making, and play with my dog, and climb the trees. And I just really felt sorry for God. And so that's been important for me. And I think the great spiritual teachers that I've read about and that I know have all experienced the dark night of the soul. I mean, I think of...
What does that mean? What is that? What does that mean to you?
It means a willingness to walk into the darkness, knowing that even though I may be alone, believing that I am not alone. Really having a deep faith. And I'm feeling that right now.
Were those books I gave you any good? I hadn't even looked in them. Didn't I give you a couple?
Yeah, you gave me one on Buddhism.
Oh, yeah,
that was very good. And the other one,
was.
the Tibetan book of Death and Dying. That's been hard to read. No, not the subject. It's the subject matter. It's the way it's written. It's hard to read.
Oh yeah.
It's like the big book. I like it, but it's written, in.
Did you ever read that book, The Inner Eye of Love, or did I give that to you? Or
no, you didn't give that one to me.
It's about the dark night of the soul. When we're done, I'll look on the bookshelf over there and see if I can find it.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's like from 1919. And it has these pictures of this person lost in the woods in the snow, and he's meditating. He's just totally lost. It's the dark night of the soul. And then in the next little picture, he sees footprints in the snow. And then he starts following the footprints or something like that. And
interesting.
And then he makes a snowball.
And erases the footprints.
It's deep.
And profound.
Thank you so much,
thank you.
Marilyn.
It's been helpful.
This has been another episode of the Feeling Good podcast. For more information, visit Dr. Burns' website at feelinggood.com, where you will find the show notes for this podcast under the blog page, and where you can leave your comments and questions. The website has an abundance of resources for therapists as well as non-therapists, including books, workshops, a list of online training groups around the world, and much more. Theme music is Gypsy Jazz in Paris, 1935, composed and performed by Brett Van Donsel. I am your host, Fabrice Nye, and I invite you to join us next time for another episode of the Feeling Good podcast.